Kevin Saunders joins us right now. He's former Border Force Chief Immigration Officer. And Kevin, I'm sure that you were as bewildered as I was, given that we are really, really struggling with our national finances. Local councils saying they can't afford to do some social care or basic stuff. They're having to put council tax up because they haven't got any money. But it turns out that local councils are spending millions hosting new arrivals from abroad, asylum seekers and refugees. They're being given, I kid you not just homes, not just clothing and food and everything, but taxpayer-funded PlayStations and even DJing lessons, would you believe? Yoga sessions as well, and the full works. I mean, laptops, driving lessons, you name it, they're getting. I mean, I'm paying for my own daughter's driving lessons right now. I didn't know they were available for free. What do you make of this?
Good morning, Julia. Well, when I read the article, I had to pinch myself to make sure I was not dreaming.
Or was it April the 1st?
Well, indeed. I think the big problem is the council regard this as their money and they will spend it how they like.
Yeah.
They seem to forget that it's our money that we give them to spend.
No, that they take from us.
Well,
I don't think we give it lovingly and willingly.
Well, I mean, we're being told that council tax is going to go up phenomenally.
Yeah.
And the great British public is not going to be happy that council tax is going up if they're going to use the money to buy PlayStations.
I mean, we understand necessities. Look, there's a lot of stuff that, I mean, council funding has gone down from central government, and the central government knows what they're doing there. Everyone will blame the local council, not them, for the cost of the things. They have to pay for lots of social care. And yet, when someone is shipped into their local area, you know, I live in Camden in North London, someone is shipped in, asylum seeker shipped in, they have to pay, they have to house them, I mean, you know, they haven't got a choice about that. But why does anybody need yoga lessons for free, DJing lessons, music lessons of any sort? Apparently, oh my God, I mean, instruction in circus skills was given to some, tickets to football matches even, I say, and PlayStations. Why on earth? I mean, these are treats. Frankly, these are birthday gifts for most families in terms of their cost. What on earth is a council doing, paying for non-necessities for people who've arrived on our shores illegally?
Well, I mean, yes, I agree with you completely. I mean, I was thinking of jumping in a boat myself to get a free football ticket because I can't afford to go to football. So, yeah, it's silly, really. It really is silly, and it's a complete waste of money. And what's more worrying is that the man on the street is going to look at what their local council are giving. Yep. They're not going to vote for them. So they won't be voting Labour, they won't be voting Conservative, so they're not voting perhaps for reform.
Yeah, well, what's interesting, of course, though, an awful lot of local councils, it's kind of like a one-party state. They don't change hands at most elections from one year to the next. But I can't imagine whoever you vote for, an awful lot of these councils, maybe Labour councils, I've got a funny feeling they probably are, trying to be all sort of right on and, opening arms. But I don't think most Labour voters want this. I mean, a lot of those voters will be people who are really struggling. They'll be certainly struggling with a 5% rise in their council tax come April. Many are facing 10% or more, some 3 million people in this country in failing councils. And they'll be saying, I've got to pay this extra money, but you're not even spending the money you already get responsibly. I mean, look, this is like someone who's worrying about paying the rent, going off and buying themselves a designer handbag. Tough, you haven't got the money for that because you've still got to pay your rent and your lecky bill. It is such irresponsible spending. Is there a way that we can ban councils from doing this stuff? Like you're only allowed to pay for necessities?
Well, yes. I mean, you could introduce legislation saying just that.
Right, let's do that.
You can, don't let them do it. Let's stop it.
But again, these are the sorts of things that provide incentives, aren't they? Because there's so much talk. I mean, every single day we could do an item on this. We could have you on very happily, I'd like to say, Kevin, every day talking about this issue. It's not going away anywhere. Illegal migrants, it's not going away. The gangs ain't being smashed. They're not going to be smashed anytime soon because we've still got that incentive. Someone is going to provide those boats. Someone is going to provide an illegal route for people who want to get to this country. And they want to come to this country because we're a soft touch.
Yes, we are a very soft touch, and I don't know if you've noticed, but the numbers are going up again. People are coming across the channel again. It's not being reported as widely as I'd like it to be reported, but the numbers are going up. Yep. We're going to see more and more coming. We're going to get we're going to spend more and more and more money, which really we ought to be spending on pensioners. We ought to be spending it on the winter fuel payments. I mean, electricity is going up again, isn't it? Where will this end?
I know. Well, I'll tell you where it'll end. It'll end where we got with the large parts of Europe, and we've seen here as well, is in a very strong political reaction from people, and we see what's happened, say, in Sweden, and we don't know who the perpetrator was of that mass murder, that shooting spree yesterday. By all accounts, it does appear to be a native Swede, but we also do know there has been a massive increase in violence, in rape, in grenade attacks, bomb attacks daily, gangs using guns and things happening on Sweden streets. A lot of migrants who've arrived in the country in that big wave 2015 onwards, who would otherwise be classed as illegal migrants but were allowed in the country, and from many parts of the world where, you know, rule of law is not a thing, and we're importing that problem here as well, because these people are walking around among us and we don't know who they are.
Yes, you're right, that we have exactly that problem. And that is perhaps the biggest problem that we have. We don't know who these people are that are getting off the boats. And that is a real problem. I mean, men pretending to be children, minors, because they think that minors do get a better deal. So let's pretend to be a minor. We've had rapists, we've had murderers. We've had all sorts.
Well, we know from the security forces that we've undoubtedly also had terrorists. I mean, we know that. It is utter madness. I've said this every day about virtually every item. So many things that happen in this world, in this country in particular, are just utterly mad, and I do not understand why authorities won't get to grips with it. Kevin Saunders, always good to talk to you, former Border Force Chief Immigration Officer. Yeah, he knows what he's talking about. Benedict Spence, who also knows what he's talking about. It is extraordinary, this. When I read these stories, I think this can't be true. This is on a grand scale. £141 million spent since 2022 on these extra initiatives, according to a Telegraph audit. That's only of 110 councils. That's just the one they got the freedom of information from.
And yet you criticise me for being so negative all the time, when these are the facts that are presented in front of me. What other conclusion is one to come to, other than that things are not going very well, and there doesn't seem to be any desire to improve these things from central government? I
mean, there's a longer conversation to have on this after 12, but are we hitting breaking point? Because I certainly see in Western Europe, in terms of the support for different parties, that does feel like breaking point, and I think the support for reform coming ahead, Labour right now, is indicative of that.
I don't know. Earlier on, I referred to Lebanon once upon a time as the Riviera of the Middle East. Things can always get a lot worse. Actually, it does require some action, rather than just going, things aren't as good as they used to be.
The thing I find extraordinary is this abject failure of action, but also the lack of will from our political classes. They are absolutely ostriches, heads in the sand, refusing to see reality, fact, playing out on our streets. I just find it just weird. But I think it's weird that they're pretending it's not happening when everyone else can see it with their own eyes.